guys! So today it is time for another Make It Happen May video. So today I wanted to talk about my favorite speakers, authors, podcasts, people to watch on YouTube, just kind of things and people that are super inspirational towards me or for me in my life. These are people that I listen to when I have goals that I'm trying to achieve and I'm not sure how to achieve them, or if I'm just feeling down, because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I fall into this like emotional tornado and I make up all these things about myself in my head, and sometimes it's just good to hear things that are actually truthful and good from people that I really respect. I'm honestly just gonna go down the list, maybe say something that I really like about them, and you can hopefully take that list of people and look through them, and hopefully you'll find someone that you really connect with and that you really like. I will also be listing everyone that I mention down below, as well as maybe some links to some channels and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm gonna start with books. The first book that I wanted to talk about is a book that changed my life back when I was a little girl. And Mom, you're probably watching this because I know you watched a lot of my videos. You made me read this, but it was a really great book. It was the first book that ever got me on that train of thinking and realizing that I can do things differently and do what I want and think outside the box. And it is a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. And I highly recommend it if maybe you come from a family that doesn't think as positively or doesn't tend to think outside the box, and you feel like, hey, I want to go towards more positive thinking, which, by the way, I actually don't really like the word positive thinking, because I heard someone say something once that I was like, whoa, that's exactly it. They were like, the word positive thinking implies that you're just basically lying to yourself, like smothering a, cream of lies over, a deep belief that you have in yourself that you're not good enough. And so I don't really like the word positive thinking, but I guess positive is the right word. And so that was the first book that really, even though I grew up around that, reading it and seeing someone else say it, talk about, the value of yourself and the value that you bring to the table in a job and just in life in general, was a really, really amazing thing. And seeing someone lay out in front of me that you can, put out into the world what you want and go after it and achieve it, I was just like, wow, that's really, really interesting. So that was the first book that I wanted to throw out there, is The Magic of Thinking Big. So the next book is another, pretty much all these are like things I jacked from my parents because I just grew up around them and the things that they recommended were really helpful to me. So the next book is called The Cause Within You. So this is kind of a book and an author person that I really like, and this is Pastor Matthew Barnett. He is the pastor of Angelus Temple, which is kind of connected with the Dream Center in LA. If you follow my vlog channel or KEEKs or any of that kind of stuff, you know that we're down there a decent amount. My sister actually she used to live down there and was part of their like college program, and now she volunteers down there for the dance program and all that jazz. And he's just a really, really like amazing person. He's followed the cause that he feels like God gave to him, and he's really walked it out and done it to the best of his ability in his life. And the book, The Cause Within You, I think is really, really amazing, because I think when you have a goal, you have to think, he just talked about this on Sunday, you have to think about the motive behind your motivation. And his whole book is basically about that, because if your motivation for your goals is to get people to stop talking crap about you, so he was talking about like haters on Sunday, if it's to get people to stop talking crap about you, or to join your team, or to show them who's boss, or anything like that, the problem is that's not gonna last you long term. You can only really sit in that place for so long, that emotional kind of place for so long, and after a while you eventually grow kind of bitter, or you just end up not caring. You're like, that's not worth it. Or I guess the same thing I just said, that you just realize it's not worth it. So the really great thing about this book is he talks about finding a cause. On Sunday he talks specifically about bringing glory to God in everything you do and being excellent, but the book talks a lot about finding a cause and making the cause the real reason behind your goals. So I didn't do a very good job summing up his book. He's amazing. So Pastor Matthew Barnett and The Cause Within You. Okay, so I have 2 more books in the book category. The first one is Captivating. I am slowly rereading it right now for the second time. I read it for the first time years and years ago, but it also so greatly shifted my train of thought. Pretty much everyone in this video, I didn't include them unless they were a huge kind of life-changing thing or person or book for me, and this was another one. Captivating is basically about the heart of a woman. So if you're a girl, I highly recommend reading Captivating. If you're a guy or a girl or whatever, I highly also recommend reading Wild at Heart, which is kind of like the male companion book to Captivating. And it's really, really awesome because they basically talk about the heart of a woman and what a woman wants to feel fulfilled in life. And I really liked that book. I'm not gonna give anything away, but I highly suggest that. Okay, so podcasts. These are people that I listen to on the reg, on my iPhone while taking walks. These are people that have changed my life. I don't even need to go back and say that again. I've said that about everything in this video, but it's true. So the first person on that list is Joyce Meyer. Joyce Meyer has been a hugely influential woman in my life, as well as Dr. Laura, which she's not on podcast, but she's on Sirius. They have been older women who have so greatly impacted my life because I admire the women that they've become, and it's cool to see someone so much farther down the road and hear their opinion. And it doesn't mean that like someone is always right and I'm always like, yeah, but it means that I've really appreciated their guidance. They're extremely motivational. I think they're both smart. Joyce Meyer has just changed my opinion on attitudes and emotions and a lot. So Joyce Meyer is definitely the first one. The second one, like I said, Dr. Laura too, but she doesn't do podcasts. The second one is Joel Osteen. A lot of you guys have probably heard of Joel Osteen. A lot of people refer to him as like the feel-good guy. I don't know, that's kind of a semi-fair title, but not fully because I think he's a lot more than that. I really enjoy his podcasts, and he really does, I guess, then you could back up and say that, he really does make me feel good. He just gives me a different point of view in whatever I'm doing. And when I feel discouraged, if you're someone like me, it's funny because the top comments that I get from people and tweets and Instagram things are people saying to me that they wish they had the kind of motivation that I have or attitude that I have. And while part of it, there is a part of it that is genuinely my personality. I do tend to be a very bubbly person. There is a huge part of it that is worked for, that I spend a lot of time listening to people that keep me focused on the things that I want, listening to people that pour words into my life that build me up. I spend a lot of time kind of like training my emotions and my personality, kind of like training at the gym. Not in a manipulative way, but I work them out. I try to keep them healthy and eat well with the words that I choose to speak and the words that I choose to come into my brain, if that makes sense. So I love listening to him because if I'm feeling discouraged, I can listen to him and he immediately puts things in perspective for me. He doesn't make me feel like, yeah, but I mean, I guess sometimes he does, but he just gives me a lot of perspective, especially if I'm feeling down or sad about something. So the next person is Rick Warren. Rick Warren, as far as I know, does not do daily podcasts. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Rick Warren is the author of The Purpose-Driven Life, and he is also a pastor at Saddleback Church in Orange County, which I've never been to. I live pretty close there, but I've never been there. I'd love to go though. And anyways, he did a series specifically that I've really enjoyed listening to, and it was a pastor's series, but it was really for anyone in a place of like leadership. It's just a really cool series. So I highly recommend it. If you search up Rick Warren on your podcast, it should pull up. Him and the other pastors on the podcast did a really, really great job on that series. Okay, so the last person, this is kind of random, but it's kind of like another category in my life I listen to. This is Seth Gordon. Seth Gordon did on podcasts like a business, he does like business school, like samples from seminars that he teaches. He is a blogger and an author and like a PR social media strategist. And he's just really, really smart, really forward thinking. And I consider myself a pretty forward thinking person in terms of social media and technology and digital media and all that stuff. But I listen to him and I'm like, dang, he's just smart. So I really find his podcast interesting. Okay, so the next people are people that I tend to watch on YouTube a lot. I look them up, I watch a lot of their videos, and I usually garner a lot from them. So the first person is Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki is actually the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read that book a really long time ago, but I'm slowly rereading through that as well. And he's basically just like a financial kind of strategist, but he's more of like he teaches things to try to shift people's state of mind in terms of business. So I always learn a whole lot when I listen to him in terms of business. If you just search Robert Kiyosaki, he's been interviewed by like Oprah, by a lot of different people, which Oprah is another one I just don't I don't listen to podcasts or watch her on YouTube. I usually just watch her on the OWN network. But yeah, I really like Robert Kiyosaki, and for business and money stuff, he has been really motivational. Okay, so along those same lines is someone named Marie Forleo. Now, I actually found her through my friend Dominica, who was in one of my videos a couple of videos ago. She runs the YouTube channel Smart Girl World, and she was the one that introduced me to her. I guess she was actually like endorsed by Oprah. Oops, I just kicked the camera. But I had never seen her before, and she has a business. It's mostly targeted at women, but men can obviously listen and learn too. Dan's watched a few of her videos. She teaches business skills, and the way that she breaks it down is a little more actually it's a lot more structured than Robert Kiyosaki. While he does specific teachings, when you look him up on YouTube, it's a lot of like changing people's paradigm, if that's the right word. Whereas Marie Forleo literally breaks down step-by-step different business things. So like how to choose a name for your business. She just covers topics like very step-by-step. So she's really interesting to watch, and I like that she's a woman because it's kind of cool to just hear business advice from other females. Okay, so the last person whose videos I really love watching are Tony Robbins. Now, I've read one of Tony's books, and I've seen him like interviewed on Oprah, and I listen to him on podcasts sometimes, but my favorite way of like digesting Tony Robbins information is via video. So I watch a ton of YouTube videos with him, and the reason why I really like him, a lot of people once again think of him as like a positive thinking guy, but really he's more of he always says this, like he's more of a like people guy, like figuring out why people do the things they do and helping us all tap into the reasons behind why we do things, because he believes, kind of like what I said at the beginning, if we can tap down into the reason why we do things, we can kind of from there figure out like what we really want, what's going to make us happy, and maybe replace a bad motivation with a really great motivation that will ultimately make us happier in the long term. So I just really like him, and every time I listen to him, and I know Tony Robbins is so popular that it sounds super like stereotypical, but if you haven't listened to him, I highly recommend giving him a chance and not just writing him off because of his popularity, because he is a really, really smart guy. And he really will help you focus on what you want and figure out the steps to get there. So I highly recommend him as well. Okay guys, so that is it for today's Make It Happen May video. I hope that this was helpful for you. Also, please, I'm asking you, I am always looking for new speakers, authors, books, podcasts, videos, all kinds of things to watch. So let me know in the comment section down below, or please tweet me with the hashtag, I just bit my lip while saying that. Please tweet me with the hashtag Make It Happen May, so that everyone else can also see your favorite speakers, quotes, podcasts, videos, all that jazz. So I will see you all in a couple days for the next Make It Happen May. I'll see you Monday. Bye.